right. Well, it's the topic that's been blowing up the chat this morning. Andrew Tate and his brother arrested in Romania of allegations of sex trafficking. Here to break down the story with a little bit more detail is a field representative from Turning Point USA, making her debut appearance on the show, Daniella Pentsak. Let's welcome her to the show. Good morning, Daniella. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, about Andrew Tate. He's quite the personality, so just gonna get into it. I don't know. I think the jokes kind of write themselves with the situation in terms of how he was caught. You have this grown man who's looking for a little bit of publicity on Twitter, I guess, because I know he just recently got back on Twitter. Um, once again, and he was looking for a little publicity, so he tries to get some attention from an autistic climate change activist. So I guess what happened was that he got a little bit more publicity than what he had bargained for. Um, so what happened is, what I understand, is that in a response to Greta Thunberg, he sent a video of himself with a pizza box, and as you guys were talking about, the pizza box kind of gave out his location, and so people cross-referenced it, and it didn't help that the tweets got a lot of attention. And so I guess what ended up happening is that he and his brother got raided, and they were being suspect of human trafficking. But before I share my opinion on this, I just want to say, and as you guys have already said, this man, just out of principle, he is innocent until proven guilty. So, I'm not going to sit here and just make claims that this man truly is guilty of these crimes or these charges. But with that out of the way, I see a lot of people coming out of the woodwork trying to defend this man, presumably as fans. And, with the whole cult of personality thing, I can understand why people may feel obligated to do that for him, but this is not the man I think that people should be doing this for. If you look at his history, he doesn't have the best history with, let's just say, respecting and following the law. I mean, we're talking about a man who himself said that he specifically moved to Romania because he wanted to escape a harsh judicial system. He actually said that he moved to Romania to escape parts of the law. So, just with that in place, I don't think he has the best track record. Additionally, as someone in the chat said earlier, he has been part of an ongoing investigation since April of 2022 of this year, still technically, for trafficking. And he had two women living with him in their quarters. Presumably, they were hostages, and admittedly, him and his brother were later released of these charges, but the investigation was ongoing, and it did take quite a bit of time to investigate that. And so, with just a man with this context and this history and this background of not really having the best relationship with the law in the country that he lives in, I'm just a little bit wary of the people that are coming out of the woodwork and trying to defend him.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Petersen, I'm speaking to Daniella Pentsak. She's a field representative for Turning Point USA. We're also still joined in studio by my wife, Stephanie Petersen. We're discussing the arrest of Andrew Tate and his brother in Romania yesterday on allegations of human trafficking. So I kind of take for granted that people pay as close attention to internet influencers as I do, Daniella. And so, if I were to bring up Andrew Tate in conversation with what you might call normies, I think most people who don't live their life online probably don't know who Andrew Tate is. It doesn't.
Like, I didn't know him.
Yeah, so like my wife, she doesn't live her life online, so she didn't know who he was. I have had to explain to people who Andrew Tate is in the last few weeks. So what do we know about Andrew Tate? Really, who is this guy? All of these allegations, these recent allegations. What do we know about his background? Tell us who this guy is.
Yeah, so he is you could call him a social media personality. I do know that he was a kickboxer for quite some time, and that's how he kind of started his career that way, and he got some notoriety that way. And then later on, he became more of like a social media personality, through using social media early on, like Twitter, TikTok, I believe he had a Twitch channel as well at some point. He kind of like played up this character, and he was a very abrasive character. He was
Mm.
known for saying a lot of misogynistic comments about, women, and that's kind of like what got him deplatformed from these social media platforms like Twitter. I know he was banned, I believe, off Twitter, YouTube, Instagram for some time. I do believe he's back though, I think. But so he has a really colorful history of saying quite the few negative things, and I you guys have talked about that on this show already. But he also has his own website. I was actually on there last night just looking at it, and he sells quite a few things. I mean, he sells vitamins, he sells a self-help program. And I
Self-help
would kind of say
program.
that, yeah, they're called the 41 tenets of Tateism, which he
Oh my
doesn't even
gosh.
himself follow because one of them is following the law and being an upstanding citizen. So, so yeah, he did kind of over the years mold this like cult of personality on social media, and I understand he's playing up a character. I know that he's trying to be this larger than life character, and that people will naturally gravitate towards that, especially young men, in this day and age. So again, I can understand why people are fans of him, but I wouldn't say he's the best role model. I would compare him to someone like Jordan Peterson a little bit, but a more I don't know, a more edgy version of someone like Jordan Peterson. He's like this role model for young men, and he garnered this following from that. And I know that he was part of a few scandals in the past as well. He had this webcam situation going on where he had about 75 women as part of this like a webcam service. Um, and he came out admitted that this was a scam. So what they were doing is they were having these women on webcams and they were selling these sob stories, and people would donate money to them. And Andrew came out saying that that was all a scam. All the stories were fake. They're trying to he's trying to have these girls have parasocial relationship with these young men online, and
Yes.
all the stories they said were fake. So this man doesn't also have the best reputation when it comes to have like selling services and products. But yeah, like I had mentioned, he was previously a kickboxer, and over the years he had like created this online persona on various platforms. He was deplatformed, of course, due to his comments. And he was recently platformed again on Twitter with Elon Musk taking over. And this is where we are again. He got, you know, arrested, and he has a colorful history with the Romanian law when it comes to human trafficking.
What do you think, Steph?
Wow. I mean, yeah, you definitely said some interesting things there about why he moved to Romania
Yeah, that
because
I
he
didn't
liked the
know.
laws there better.
Yeah, so can you expand on that? I mean, he moved to Romania specifically to evade the criminal justice system of the United States. I mean,
I don't even know where he lived before because he's British,
he's
right?
British,
And
yeah. He was
American.
on like the Big Brother television show, I think, for a
Right. So I
while.
wonder where his citizenship actually
And I
is.
want,
That would be
yeah, and
interesting to know.
I wonder why what it was specifically about the American criminal justice system or the UK criminal justice system that would make him want
Right.
to move to Romania. And I wonder what it is about the Romanian apparently
Exceptions for
apparently it didn't. I
pornography.
mean, apparently it didn't work because he got arrested in Romania for, allegations of human trafficking.
Maybe he
So
needs to find another country that has better laws.
for sure. We got to give a big, huge shout out, by the way, to Andy Opperman, who just donated $50 on the super chat. That's a big one, Stab. We'll give him 2 rounds of applause on that one. Thank you for that. We appreciate you very much for supporting the Wake Up America show. So, Daniela, what else? Is there anything else that we should need to know about Andrew Tate as a person? Because I mean, that was fairly thorough. But is there anything that you left out?
Well, I do want to comment on what you guys were asking about him saying what he said about moving to Romania. So previously he did live in the UK, and I don't remember the quote verbatim, but I do remember that he did say that he had wanted to move to Romania for multiple reasons. One of those reasons was that he does not like Western society, as what he said. He said it's too overbearing. People,
Um,
especially women in Western societies, aren't the same as they are, in Eastern Europe, apparently. So that's one reason why he said he moved. But one of the major reasons that really stood out to me was that he said that um, that for things like minor infractions such as speeding and all that, that societies like in Romania, they're much more forgiving on, and that's one of the reasons why he moved there. I just thought that was interesting because, as a man who just came out and said that he's trying to evade certain parts of the law, and that's why he moved to a country. That's one of his primary reasons. I just thought was really funny, considering this entire situation. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he
He
has
wants to
he
move
had
to a
like he
place that doesn't respect women as much, less Western.
exactly. And I don't want to like come out and say that because I'm trying to be like careful, but that's the first thing that naturally comes to mind, right? Is that he's trying to go to a country where they're much more easy on the law when it comes to, and with the man was saying what he said is about women. He's very well known about what he says about women, and he moves to a country like that, and I just think this entire situation just kind of, if you look at the bigger picture of who he is as a person, I am more willing to believe that he is guilty of these crimes. I'm not saying he is, but if it walks like a duck, if it talks like a duck, maybe it's a duck. I'm just putting that out there.
Pretty good. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Petersen, we are speaking to Daniella Pentsak. She is a field representative at Turning Point USA. And of course, my lovely wife, Stephanie Petersen, is in studio with us as well. We're talking about the arrest of Andrew Tate yesterday in Romania. Comes on the heels of a dust up that he was involved in online with Greta Thunberg.
How dare you?
Most of you remember Greta Thunberg as the climate change activist who made waves for criticizing the world for their climate policies. And she's now out there online celebrating Andrew Tate's arrest. And a lot of people are dogpiling on, but plenty of people are supporting Andrew Tate as well. I think, taking a wait and see attitude about this is probably the most wise approach, just because, there have been a lot of stories where people have had egg on their faces because they came out and they dogpiled on somebody. Perfect example was Nicholas Sandmann. You probably remember, Daniela, where, initially the reports were that, Nicholas Sandmann was getting in this Native American guy's face and harassing him, wearing the MAGA hat, but the reality was quite the opposite. So, my opinion on this is that, I probably fall in line with you, Daniela, on this one because, like you say, if you're running webcam sites, where you're running, those kinds of things, you're going
Right.
to
He's
give.
already dabbling in those areas.
Right. He's dabbling in those areas. It's the kind of thing that, like, what's interesting is that there's this kind of like the right move, the movement, I guess, of the right is kind of two minds on this one, where a lot of the right wingers who are supporting him are the type of people who, if anybody was accused of human trafficking, they would throw them under the bus immediately. So I just wonder why Andrew Tate sort of gets an exception to that rule, right? Where it's like, there's all this outrage against Jeffrey Epstein, and Epstein Island is literally trending right now on Twitter, but with Andrew Tate, they want to give there are all these people who want to give him the benefit of the doubt, whereas people like myself are kind of like, not quite so much.
Mhm.
Isn't that kind of fascinating though, Daniela, that like the right is, it really does kind of boil down to tribalism to a certain extent. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. He's being defended by, like I said, presumably his followers, and just because he's the guy who's on the right side, he's on their side of the political spectrum or their ideological spectrum, and that's why they're defending him. And I do see a lot of people say that with the whole Epstein list situation, and you know, great, I'm glad that's getting attention. I think that deserves just as much as attention as this, but I still fail to see how that still relates to what Andrew Tate is doing in Romania. So I just feel like people are throwing out these red herrings just to distract and divert attention from the issue that is at hand. And a lot of people are all of a sudden saying that everyone's interested in human trafficking all over again. And this is, and they're all trying to divert attention. I think that the Epstein situation, human trafficking topic in general, of course, it all deserves a lot of scrutiny and attention. But right now, what's at hand is Andrew Tate, and that's what we're all talking about. That's the guy that was just arrested, and I think that's deserving of some scrutiny in and of itself. But yeah, he has devised this cult of personality, um, and with every person that has a cult of personality, they're going to have defenders. They're going to have people that are just going to defend them no matter what they say and say it's part of a deep state situation. So.
Right, right, for sure. And